I went inside an abandoned police station just to film a story. But when I came out, then I realized something came out with me. Echoes of real horror based on real life.
There's something about abandoned police stations. They don't feel empty, even when there's no one inside. It feels like something is still watching. This story was shared with me by someone who used to work as a field journalist. His name was Rahat, and what he experienced changed the way he looks at empty buildings forever. It started with a simple assignment: a small town, a forgotten case, and an abandoned police station that had been shut down almost 15 years ago. The place had a reputation. Locals avoided it, not because of crime, but because of stories. People said lights sometimes turned on at night. Footsteps were heard, even though the building was sealed. And sometimes, voices. Rahat didn't believe any of it. He had heard stories like that before. Old buildings. People exaggerate things. That's what he thought, until he decided to go inside. It was around 9 p.m. when he arrived. The station was located at the edge of the town, surrounded by overgrown trees, broken fences, and silence. The building itself looked wrong. Not just old, abandoned, windows cracked, paint peeling, the main sign barely readable. Police station. The gate was locked, but broken. It didn't take much effort to push it open. The moment he stepped inside, something felt off. The air was heavier, colder than outside, and completely still. No insects, no wind, just silence. Rahat turned on his camera. This is Rahat, reporting from the old Central Police Station. His voice echoed slightly, too much for an open space. He stepped toward the main entrance. The door was already open. Slightly, he pushed it. It creaked loudly. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Old desks, broken chairs, scattered files. Dust covered everything. Thick, but something didn't match. There were footprints, fresh ones, leading deeper into the station. Rahat stopped. Okay, that's weird. He followed them. Slowly. The corridor ahead was long, lined with rooms on both sides. Interrogation rooms, offices, holding cells. One by one, he checked them. Empty. All of them. But the footprints continued, leading to the end of the hallway, where a single door stood, slightly open. The sign above it read, Interrogation Room 3. Rahat hesitated. For the first time, he felt something he couldn't explain. A quiet voice in his mind saying, "Don't go in." But he ignored it and pushed the door open. The room was darker than the rest. Only one chair in the center, and a table. On the table, a file. Clean. No dust. Rahat stepped closer, slowly opened it. Inside, a single photograph. A man, wearing a police uniform. Name tag visible. Officer Camel. Under it, handwritten words. Last seen inside this room. Rahat frowned. Missing officer. And then, he heard it. A sound. Behind him. The door, slowly closing. He turned. The door shut completely. Click. Locked. Rahat rushed forward. Tried the handle. It wouldn't move. And then, the light above him flickered. Once, twice, and then, it turned on. But the room had changed. The walls looked cleaner. The table new. And across from him, someone was sitting. A man, in a police uniform, head slightly down, not moving. Rahat froze. Hello. No response. Slowly, the man lifted his head and looked straight at him. His face was the same as the photograph. Officer Camel. And then, he spoke. You came back. Rahat's voice shook. What? The officer leaned forward. Slowly, you left me here. Rahat stepped back. I don't know you. The officer smiled. A broken, unnatural smile. You will. The lights went out. Darkness. Complete darkness. Rahat couldn't see anything. Not the table. Not the door. Not even his own hands. But he could feel something. Someone standing very close to him. Breathing. Slow, heavy. Right in front of his face. Rahat froze. His body refused to move. And then, a voice whispered, You shouldn't have come back. The lights flickered again. Once, twice, and then they came back on. The room was empty. The chair across the table was empty. The door behind him was open. Rahat didn't wait. He ran out of the interrogation room, back into the corridor. But something had changed. The station didn't look the same anymore. The lights were brighter now. The walls looked cleaner. And the air wasn't heavy anymore. It felt normal. Too normal. Rahat slowed down. What is happening? And then he heard voices. Real voices. Coming from the main office area. He moved toward the sound. Slowly. Carefully. And when he reached the corner, he saw something impossible. The station was active. Officers walking around. Phones ringing. Papers being moved. Like it was operating normally. Rahat stood there, unable to understand what he was seeing. And then, someone walked past him, brushing against his shoulder, but didn't react, didn't even look at him. Hey, Rahat said. No response. It was like they couldn't see him. Rahat's breathing became faster. This isn't real. He moved deeper into the office. And that's when he saw him again. Officer Camel, standing near a desk, talking to another officer. This time, he looked normal. No smile. No distortion. Just human. Rahat slowly walked closer, trying to listen. We shouldn't keep him there, one officer said. He knows too much. Camel shook his head. Orders are orders. We wait. The other officer looked nervous. Something's wrong with that room. Camel didn't respond. He just stared toward the corridor, directly at Rahat. This time, he could see him. Rahat stepped back. Camel slowly started walking toward him. Step by step, the rest of the station continued like nothing was happening. No one else reacted. Only him. Camel stopped just a few feet away, and then said quietly, You're seeing what you shouldn't. Rahat shook his head. What is this place? Camel tilted his head slightly. This is where it started. Suddenly, everything changed again. The lights dimmed. The voices stopped. One by one, the officers disappeared, like shadows fading away, until only Rahat and Camel remained. The station returned to its abandoned state. Dark, silent, but Camel was still there, standing, watching him. You shouldn't have followed the footprints, he said. Rahat's voice trembled. What happened to you? Camel smiled again. That same unnatural smile. I stayed. Silence. And then, he pointed toward the holding cells. Go see. Rahat didn't want to, but his body moved, like something was forcing him. Step by step, he walked toward the cells. The metal bars were rusted. The air smelled. Wrong. He looked inside the first cell. Empty. Second cell. Empty. Third cell. He stopped. Because this one wasn't empty. Something was sitting in the corner. A figure. Head down. Not moving. Rahat leaned closer. Hello. Slowly, the figure lifted its head, and Rahat's heart stopped, because the face was his own, pale, lifeless, eyes wide open, staring directly at him. You shouldn't have come, it whispered. You shouldn't have come. The words didn't just echo in the cell. They echoed inside Rahat's head. He stepped back, his breathing uneven, his hands shaking. This isn't real. But the version of himself inside the cell didn't move. It just stared, eyes wide, lifeless. And then it smiled, slowly, the same unnatural smile. Rahat turned and ran, back into the corridor. But the station was no longer the same. The walls were darker now, the lights barely working, and the hallway seemed longer than before. Every step echoed, louder than it should. He kept running, looking for the exit, but every turn led him back to the same place. Ward of cells, interrogation room, that same corridor. And then he heard footsteps behind him, slow, heavy, getting closer. He stopped because he already knew who it was. Officer Camel, you're starting to understand. The voice came from behind him. Rahat didn't turn. What is this place? Silence. Then Camel spoke again. This place remembers. Slowly, Rahat turned around. Camel was standing there, but not like before. His uniform was torn, covered in dark stains. His face, pale, almost dead. What do you mean, remembers? Camel took a step closer. Everything that happened here never left. The walls around them started to change, faint shadows appearing, like memories replaying. Rahat saw officers, heard shouting, interrogations, and then screams. Camel's voice echoed. This wasn't just a station. It was a place where people disappeared. Rahat's eyes widened. What? They brought them here, Camel continued. No records, no names. Interrogated them until there was nothing left. The shadows became clearer. Figures tied to chairs. Officers standing around. And then, silence. And you, Rahat asked. Camel smiled faintly. I tried to stop it. Pause. So they put me in room 3. The interrogation room. Rahat felt a chill run through his body. And then, Camel stepped closer. I never left. Silence filled the station. And then suddenly, all the shadows turned toward Rahat. Every single one of them. Watching him. Why am I seeing this? Rahat whispered. Camel looked directly into his eyes. Because you came inside. And now, the station remembers you too. The lights went out again. This time, they didn't come back immediately. In the darkness, Rahat heard something moving. Not one thing, many things, surrounding him, breathing, whispering, voices overlapping. Stay, don't leave. You're part of this now. Rahat screamed and ran. He didn't know where he was going. But suddenly, a door appeared at the end of the corridor, slightly open, light coming through it. He ran toward it, as fast as he could. The whispers grew louder behind him. Closer, reaching. He pushed the door open and fell forward. Silence. He opened his eyes. He was outside, in front of the station. Morning light. Everything looked normal again. Rahat gasped for air. He was shaking, but he was alive. He got up slowly and looked back at the building. It was silent, empty, like nothing had ever happened. He left that place, never went back, never talked about it, until now. But there's one thing he still can't explain. A few days later, he checked the footage from his camera. Most of it was corrupted, static, broken frames, but one clip remained, just a few seconds long. It showed him walking into the station, and right behind him, someone else, wearing a police uniform, standing still, watching him enter. And even now, sometimes late at night, Rahat hears something outside his door. Footsteps, slow and steady, like someone is still checking on him.
Echoes of real horror based on real life.